Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're tackling a goal that honestly feels totally impossible for a lot of people, but we are going to do it without relying on sheer willpower. We are talking about building a 60-day emergency fund, a true financial shock absorber. Forget the complicated math and the traditional budgeting advice. For just a second, we're focusing entirely on actionable behavior to get you protected, and to get you protected fast.
You know that exact moment when your phone buzzes, you look down, you see it's your bank app, and you already know what it's going to say before you even open it? It's literally like walking into a horror movie you've already seen. And then, the very same day, life decides to test you. Your car makes a weird new noise that just sounds expensive. Or your kid's school sends an email about some unexpected fee. Or, your boss sends you that dreaded, "Hey, can we talk?" message that instantly makes your stomach drop. You're sitting there realizing you're exactly one random Tuesday away from a total disaster. You check your balance, and it's some uncomfortably specific number, like $1,742, or maybe it's just $17.42. Look, if you're constantly praying nothing breaks because you simply don't have the cash to fix it, this explainer is absolutely for you. We are going to change that reality. Okay, let's dive into section 1, the random Tuesday problem. You are one text message away from disaster. Listen, if you feel broke right now and you're thinking, hey, I'll build an emergency fund after I get my life together, well, actually scratch that. You've got it completely backwards. You build the fund so you can get your life together. Without it, you are totally vulnerable to the financial domino effect. This is where just one unexpected bill triggers overdraft fees, which leads to credit card interest, begging friends for cash, stress spirals, and ultimately totally panic-driven decisions. You don't need a massive, perfect fund to stop this. Just a small buffer stops this disastrous domino effect dead in its tracks. Moving right along to section 2, the psychology of scarcity, or why your brain actively fights saving money. I want to disarm something right out of the gate here. If you struggle to save, it is not because you're lazy, and it's not because you're bad with money. It is entirely about human psychology. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, your brain goes into full-blown scarcity mode. It gets wired for survival today, not stability later. And this scarcity mode has some severe side effects. You focus hyper-intently on immediate problems, you completely ignore future risks, and you tend to grab small comfort purchases just to cope with the immense stress. This is exactly why telling someone to just save 20% is absolutely useless. It's like telling someone who is actively drowning to just try swimming better. And look, if you feel like you're the only one drowning out there, let's look at the data. Bankrate found that about 1 out of 4 Americans, so 24%, have absolutely zero emergency savings. You are absolutely not alone in this financial anxiety. And to put that into perspective, the American Psychological Association reports that money is the #1 top stressor for 64% of adults. Meanwhile, Federal Reserve data shows only 55% have a 3-month buffer set aside. So what does this all mean? It means if you feel anxious about money, congratulations, you are extremely normal. Which brings us to section 3, the $600 shock absorber. Big enough for reality, small enough to actually achieve. So how do we fix this without some massive, impossible windfall? We build a shock absorber, and our specific target goal is $600. Why 600? Well, because it hits the absolute perfect sweet spot. It's big enough to handle most of those random Tuesday problems we talked about, a blown tire, a small medical bill, a crazy high utility bill, but it's small enough that it's highly achievable even if you're starting from basically zero. And get this, we're not going to take a whole year to do this. We are aiming for just 60 days, just a 2-month sprint to get you protected and take that massive weight right off your chest. Now, do the micro math with me real quick. $600 divided by 60 days equals exactly $10 a day. That is it. Suddenly, that big, scary total feels infinitely less intimidating, right? Now, you might be sitting there saying, I don't have $10 extra a day. And you know what? That is totally fair. But we aren't going to find that money by making you miserable. Let's jump into section 4, the 60-day saving system. We are building a behavior machine. We are going to find that $10 a day through a mix of reducing hidden leaks and automating wins so you never, ever have to rely on motivation. Here's the 4-step framework for our sprint. Separate, stabilize, squeeze, and supplement. Let's engineer this machine right now. Step 1. Day 1 is not save money. Day 1 is stopping the habit of saving in the exact same place that you spend. If your emergency fund is just sitting right there in your checking account, it's not an emergency fund. It's a snack fund. Visible money gets spent. So open a separate savings account, hide it from your main screen, and literally rename it Do Not Touch.
Because willpower is not a strategy. Changing your environment is a strategy. Once you've got those accounts separated, we kick off the first $100 hunt in week 1. See, your brain desperately needs proof. It needs to see immediate movement to build up that momentum. So cancel just one forgotten subscription today. Second, implement the 48-hour pause rule, meaning any non-essential purchase gets delayed by 2 whole days to break that impulse loop. And third, sell just one old item this weekend. Put that 40 or 70 bucks straight into the fund to score a quick win. By week 2, we get serious about our spending using a super simple categorization: must, maybe, and mess. Musts are your rent and basic groceries. Maybes are things you can easily reduce. And mess is all that impulse and convenience spending. The crucial point here is that most people do not have a budget problem. They have an emotionally justified leak problem. A $12 takeout here, a convenience store stop there. Plug the leaks in the maybe and mess columns, and I guarantee you can easily find 50 bucks or more a week. Then in weeks 3 and 4, we tackle the biggest budget wrecker of them all: groceries. Food decisions happen when you're tired, which always leads to overspending. The strategy? Pick 6 cheap, stable meals, like rice and eggs or oats and peanut butter, and just repeat them. Predictable default meals drastically reduce decision fatigue. But crucially, you absolutely must allow one planned treat per week. Because if you remove all the joy from your life, psychological rebellion kicks in and you will absolutely rebound and spend way more later. All right, Section 5, rules for keeping it. Let's talk about how to protect your brand new shock absorber. So let's say you've hit your 600 bucks. Amazing. But honestly, the hardest part isn't saving the money. It's not spending it later when your emotions inevitably spike. You need a strict, ironclad definition of an emergency. An emergency is something that threatens your health, your housing, your transportation to your income, or your basic utilities. That's the whole shebang. What is not an emergency? A really great sale, a vacation, boredom, or just having a really bad day. Defining this right up front ensures you don't accidentally drain your fund on a whim. And when a real emergency does hit, because hey, life keeps happening, you follow the replace first rule. If you spend 120 bucks from the fund on a legitimate emergency, your immediate, absolute next financial goal is to replace that exact $120. This rule is exactly how you keep the fund alive indefinitely, instead of letting it die the slow death of 1,000 paper cuts.
Finally, Section 6, becoming unpanicable. The story of Maya.
Let's shift away from the math for just a second and look at the actual emotional payoff through a totally normal person who used this exact system. We'll call her Maya. Now, old Maya was stuck. Every surprise bill went straight on a credit card at 24% interest, keeping her trapped and miserable. But then she set up a simple auto transfer, caught a couple of subscriptions, and picked up one weekend gig. Within 30 days, she built a buffer. When her car suddenly needed a repair, new Maya paid in cash, zero panic. The contrast in her peace of mind is truly incredible. As Maya beautifully put it, this is not about being rich. It's about being unpanicable. Your emergency fund is not some luxury you earn the right to have. It's basic protection. It's a seatbelt. You don't wait to crash to decide you should have worn one, right? So take action today. Open that separate account. Get your first quick win and start building. Because here is the ultimate question I'm going to leave you with. Will you still be sitting there stressed out in 60 days, just hoping nothing breaks? Or will you be the person who is completely unpanicable, ready to handle absolutely